Satguru Maharaj Ji ki Jai, Sache Darbar ki Jai. Welcome everyone to today's spiritual discourse. Today I want to discuss that humans have a very big, powerful ability that we utilize to accomplish a lot of things in our life. And that ability is curiosity. We possess this power based on which we work hard and accomplish great things. We have gone to the moon, to the Mars. We have dig deep beneath the earth. We have gone inside the ocean and discovered so much. And it is all possible because of our curiosity. This curiosity forces us, pushes us, inspires us to work hard towards things that are not known to us, to discover things that are not known to others, and to gain more understanding, more knowledge of life, of this world and the universe. And there's one curiosity that dwells in every human mind, and that is, what is death? What happens at time of death? What happens after one dies? But in order to understand that, we must understand life first. Once Confucius was asked, what is death? And he said, if you do not understand and if you do not know life, you would not be able to understand death. We must first realize what is this life is all about. Why are we here? What we are supposed to do? What is our purpose in this world? So today we're going to talk about what we should do, what we're supposed to do, and what should be accomplished in one's life. First of all, this life is very precious. In every scripture, in every religion, every single saint have said that human life is the crown of the creation. Meaning God created the whole creation, but the highest creation, the most advanced technology that he developed was human body. And it is said that a soul goes through 8.4 million lives, different births, before it achieves this human birth. In scriptures, it is said, Kai janam pakeet patanga, kai janam gajmeen kuranga, kai janam pankhi sarp hoyo, kai janam haver brikh joyo, mil jagdish milan ki bariya, chirang kal eh de sanjariya. This is said by great saint who was fully realized, who became one with God, who had the ability to see beyond the physical body and physical world and understand God's creation. He said that the soul goes through many lives, lives of animals, lives of plants, becomes a mountain, goes through many different, becoming an ant, becoming an elephant. And then when it completes the cycle of 8.4 million lives, God gives this soul an opportunity to free itself in the form of a human life. Because in this life, one can attain God, one can free itself from all the suffering, from all the bondages, and become one with God, can return back to the ocean. And they said that if one is unable to complete that purpose, then one falls back into the same ditch of life and death. In our history, in our religions, in our scriptures, there are innumerable examples how souls went through different lives of animals, lives of different things before they became human. or they were human and they didn't complete their purpose and they went back into the same cycle again. Now, some people do not believe in that. Some people do not believe that soul goes through all different lives before becoming human. Well, one time a person came to our master, Sarv Shri Ashutosh Maharaji, and he was initiated, meaning he received Brahm Gyan, which is opening of the third eye and seeing that divine light within our own body. So we could meditate and elevate our consciousness and self-realize. He was initiated and he would come, he would meditate and he would serve. And slowly this curiosity took birth in his mind that I want to know what I was in a previous life. And knowing the power of the master, that he knows our past, our future, our present, that he knows everything, he would go to the master and ask him, Master, can you tell me what I was in my previous life? Because he thought he was so great that he must have been somebody important and somebody great. And he had the curiosity to know that. So he would come and ask the master, and master would smile and says, son, just meditate and keep following the path. Keep improving yourself on path of spirituality. Don't get stuck on that. Don't worry about it. Just keep moving. And he would go, but next time he would come and ask the same question again, and the master would give him same answer. After a few times, when he returned with the same question, master told him, go sit over there and meditate, and I will show you what you were in your last birth, in your last life, before you became a human. So he goes and he sits, and in his meditation, he has a vision. In his vision, what does he see? That in his last life, he was a pig. He was rolling around in the filth, in gutters filth, with his other companions and his other siblings. And he was so consumed in that filth. And seeing that scene, he was so disgusted and he opened his eyes. And he could not bear the pain and the shame and the disturbance that it created in his mind, that he started crying. He came and fell in Master's feet and says, Master, I didn't know. Please forgive me. I did not listen to your words. So the Master took him from his shoulder and raised him and said, son, I wanted to save you from that pain. I wanted to save you from that shame that you feel right now. That is the reason I was not fulfilling your wish. That is why I was telling you to meditate and uplift yourself so you never have to go back into that cycle ever again. It is a great blessing of God that this veil of ignorance is over our mind, that we do not know what happened in our previous lives or what we were and what we did. Because if that secret was revealed, we won't be able to handle it. Even knowing this life and the things we have done and the situations that we have gone through, people are so disturbed. People are so upset. There is no balance in their life. There's no balance in their mind. And they struggle every day in their lives. Even this past year that people have gone through this pandemic, lot of mental illnesses, mental issues are arising. And many people are suffering from mental issues in their lives. Now imagine if God unfolds what has happened in our previous lives. So those who believe that there is no previous life and there is no life after death and there's no cycle of life and death in other lives that soul goes through, it doesn't matter. Because if you believe the sun exists or do not exist, it doesn't matter. Reality still exists. It's just that you are not aware of that reality yet. Only if you can meditate, if you can turn your attention inward and remove the veils of ignorance from your mind, only then God can reveal the reality to us. Only then we can know what this whole life is all about. Because without that light inside, until that divine light do not shine over the mind inside, until that spark is not lit in our heart, darkness will exist. And in darkness, you cannot see anything. Only you can imagine what exists. You can believe what there is and what there is not. But what is reality, you would never know. So coming in this world and being born as human being is the greatest opportunity that God can give a soul to free itself, to free from all the bondages and merge back with the ocean and return to our eternal home. When the soul comes in this world in a human form, our minds start to swim in a stream of common desires of the world. And that is to get ahead, to gain education, to gain status in society, to have more money, to have more possessions, to have family, to have children, to have a good car or a house, gain name and fame in the world. And all those desires lead us in life, and we keep working towards them. But the greatest purpose that we were born with, we are always far away from it. Or the thought of that purpose do not even take birth in most people's lives. They are just so caught up fulfilling their small desires that desire to know the self doesn't even take birth in their minds. We say that I want peace, I want liberation, I want to end all my pain and suffering. But what do we do to free ourselves from that? Not much. But on the other hand, we keep doing things that we keep getting more entangled in this world, more entangled in pain and suffering. There was a king who was invading another kingdom because he wanted to expand his boundaries. So he takes his army of thousands and thousands of soldiers and was marching toward the other territory. On the way, he meets a saint, and he knew the greatness of saints. So he gets off his horse and bows down to the saint and asks for blessing. The saint asked, "What do you want?" He said, "I am on my way to invade another territory, another country. I want to win and expand my boundaries of my kingdom. I want to take all their wealth and bring it back to my kingdom. I want to make my kingdom more prosperous. I want to rule as much land as possible. And then I want a peaceful life. I want to sit and I want to attain peace." So the saint looks at him and says, "Is that really what you want, peace?" He says, "Yes, I am in search of peace. And after doing all of that, I will find peace." The saint looked at him and said, "If you're really looking for peace, then sit next to me and I will give you a path of peace. I will give you peace. But if you want to kill so many people, you want to shed blood of so many humans, you want to terrorize other areas and bring pain, inflict pain and suffering on others, want to gain treasures, and after doing all of that, you want peace, then you are a fool. Because after all of that, don't even have a hope of having peace in life. Hearing these words, the king got up and left. Sometimes we do say we want peace. We do say we want happiness in our life. We would need calmness. But the things that we do take us on an opposite direction. The desires that burn inside are taking us far away from that goal. The purpose that we are born to fulfill, those desires will take us far, far away from that purpose. And that is why Lord Buddha beautifully said, he says, the root cause of all suffering is desire. These desires will take our attention and focus that attention there. If you judge your own self, where is your attention most of the time? What occupies your whole day in your mind? Either our attention is in a family, our children, or at work, or in friends and other things, or something else of the world. And our whole life is occupied with that. And our attention is always focused in these things. Not that it is wrong, but healthy amount of time we should pay attention to our own life. Because wherever your attention is, that's what you will come to know. Now let's take an example. We put our attention on a friend. We get to know them. And when we keep thinking about the person and what they do, we start to draw negativity from it. The things that we do not like about them. We said, you have this shortcoming, you should not do this, you should do that. And when they do not do it, it creates a sad feeling of frustration within us. If we pay too much attention to our family, our children, we also pick up the same exact thing and it starts to create tensions inside. We try to change them. We try to correct them. But is it possible to change anyone? Nobody can change unless they want to change. We cannot change anyone. And when we keep trying and it doesn't manifest, it doesn't happen, it creates frustration, it creates anger, it just upsets our life and our mind. Now, on the other hand, if we paid healthy amount of attention to our own self, meditate, contemplate, we will also know the same thing, the weaknesses that exist in our own self. But those weaknesses, you have the power and control to rid those weaknesses and elevate yourself and make yourself more pure and raise your consciousness. Whereas when we see the weaknesses in others, we cannot do anything about it. That doesn't mean that we should not pay attention, we should not take care of our family, should not guide them, should not correct them. But that is an example that wherever your attention will be, you will get to know that and you will not have any control over it, which will create in turn frustration, anxiety within your own self. So we should devote time to everything, but we should also devote some time, a healthy amount of time to our own self and correct our own selves, uplift our own selves. Once you do learn to pay attention to your own self, you are on a way to liberation. You are on a way to self-realization. And what happens at time of death? What happens after death? This paying attention plays a great role in that. And how it affects that moment, how it affects our afterlife, We will discuss that in our next satsang next month. So until then, keep meditating, keep trying, and keep elevating. And God bless.